And we're joined now by Suleymanov, who is the ambassador of Azerbaijan to the UK. A lot of people talking about this deal. It's been a very conflicted area. Do you think it is satisfactory to going to bring a conclusion to the hostilities?
It's good to see you, Mr. Boulton. I think this is a very important milestone towards normalization, because conclusion of the peace deal text doesn't mean the signing. It's a preparation of the text to be signed. There are also some outstanding issues, which, for instance, Armenian constitution still claims part of Azerbaijani territory, internationally recognized territory. And there are some other issues. But this is a very, very important milestone. At the moment, we have a de facto peace in the region. There is an ongoing delimitation of the border between Armenia and Azerbaijan, border which has not been delimited for 3 decades since the breakup of the Soviet Union. So I think the finalization of the outstanding issues within the text is a very, very good development. I think that makes us very optimistic.
I mean, most of the people in the region are ethnically Armenian, so how do they stand?
Which region? I don't think that's the case. The Republic of Azerbaijan and the Republic of Armenia are talking to each other directly about normalization of relation between two states. The Republic of Azerbaijan...
But there has been a certain amount of movement of ethnic populations and ethnic cleansing, some people would say.
Look, for 30 years, Armenia occupied the territory of Azerbaijan illegally, 20% of Azerbaijan. About 1 million people were expelled. The whole area was destroyed and full of landmines. You could go and visit for yourself. Then, of course, as a result of the war in 2020, the territory, which was rightfully Azerbaijani territory, recognized by international law, by the United Kingdom, and now by Armenia itself, has been returned to Azerbaijan. And, people who live there, most of them are returning, those Azerbaijanis. Many Armenians left, indeed. Some stayed.
Would you see this as something that President Putin would be pleased about?
President Putin would be
pleased about?
Pleased about? I don't know. Why not? I mean, this is a peace deal in his neighborhood. I think anybody should be pleased about it. It's most important that the people of Azerbaijan and Armenia should be pleased about this. I mean, in general, what is the most important in this case is that this communication, this deal, this conversation and negotiation happened directly between Armenia and Azerbaijan. We've been trying to do that for a long time. I understand that the international community wants to get involved. I understand that there's some interests from different sides, including from Russia, including from the United States and France and others. Sometimes it's very helpful. Sometimes it's actually not that helpful. So I'm very happy that the two countries directly were able to do that.
I mean, on both sides of this agreement, what would you consider to be the level of commitment to it and support for it?
The fact that we were able to overcome the differences in the text, at least in the text, shows quite a strong commitment, I think, on both sides. Now, what we need to do is to see that Armenia commits to the final steps which are needed for the normalization and signing, not just text, but actually doing what's required. And for instance, if Armenia says we have no claims on Azerbaijani territory, as the text of the agreement says, so they recognize territorial integrity and sovereignty of Azerbaijan, then its constitution cannot say that part of Azerbaijan is part of Armenia. I mean, that's a legal contradiction. We don't want to pressure them too much. It's a domestic process within Armenian government, so they need to figure.
But I mean, quite often when people try to reach peace settlements, governments may agree something, but there isn't the will behind it from their people.
This is a very good question. What we want to sign this is exactly what you're pointing at, and I'm very grateful that you brought it up. The issue is not signing an agreement with a particular government. The issue is to find a normalization between the two nations and two peoples. And that's very important, that we want to see people of Armenia fully committed to the...
But you feel it is there at the moment?
I mean, to the extent that the government of Armenia represents its people, I would say so. There's one more, for instance, issue here, and that is that there is a Organization for Security and Cooperation, OSCE, Minsk Group, which is used to be a negotiating body, quite an effective one. For 30 years, they haven't produced anything. It's co-chaired by Russia, France, and the United States. I mean, that's not a joke. They actually co-chair this group. And one of the things we're hoping to do with our Armenian neighbors is to formally liquidate it, because what it does, it's a reminder that the conflict exists. And now that our American friends are so keen about cleaning up the waste, as they say. This is the most wasteful institution you could come up with.
Azerbaijan, how would you describe relations with Russia?
We're neighbors. We're neighbors. We have ups and downs. I mean, the beginning of 1990s was not very easy because Russia clearly sided with Armenia. Armenia is a part of the Eurasian Union. With Russia, Armenia still hosts Russian military bases, although the border guards left Armenia. It's a part of the Collective Security Treaty Organization. We are fully independent from all these institutions.
And what's your feeling about a settlement in Ukraine?
There's no settlement in Ukraine.
No,
yet.
exactly, yeah. But I mean about Russia's claims on Ukraine.
I think we fully recognize territorial integrity of Ukraine. Ukraine is a very strong and committed partner of Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan, by the way, is one of the first, and I think the only country in our region which provides continuous humanitarian assistance to Ukraine. We were the first ones within the first couple of days. Azerbaijan supports energy infrastructure of Ukraine. It's a continuous process. We want to see this war stop as soon as possible. I actually think that way too many people have died on both sides. This is a disaster. It needs to end soon.
Ambassador, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good to be with you. Thank you.
Now, could alcohol producers